very shocked. Honestly, there was a lot of thoughts around, Riley was very much linked to LSU. Just some unconfirmed reports over the last couple of weeks, and a lot of the things that I had heard last night and throughout Bedlam was really not pointed towards LSU. And he all but said in the post game press conference that he was not going to be the LSU head coach. Having said that, I don't think a lot of people maybe at least here expected the move to USC. So certainly a lot to unpack about this. But yeah, a lot of surprise going on around here right now.
Is there any reason to believe, Jason, that Lincoln Riley was unhappy or relationships had soured at Oklahoma?
I don't think so. I think Riley had some concerns, just generically speaking, from a compliance perspective. I think Oklahoma was a little tighter. There were some reports that Oklahoma would have compliance officers at practice, at weightlifting sessions, really just kind of timing them, just making sure they didn't go over. So I think that was a concern that he's had, I think, within the program. And I think just the dedication to doing what Oklahoma needs to do to kind of get over the hump, to win that national championship or play for that national championship. So from my perspective, Mark, those are the only things that I'm aware of in terms of anything that could have been, potentially soured between Lincoln Riley and Oklahoma.
So Lincoln Riley chooses to go, as Matt and I have discussed, from a historic standpoint, from blue blood program to blue blood program. And off the top of our heads, we cannot come up with another situation exactly like this one, where there was no separation between holding down two elite jobs back-to-back years. He goes to a situation in which you would think would be less competitive, especially since Oklahoma is moving on to the SEC. You have any thoughts about that, Jason, in regards to the daunting task of moving Oklahoma football from the Big 12 to what would be a crowded SEC?
Yeah, Mark, I think that's part of the conjecture I think that's happening right now. Is maybe the thought process was, to your point, Mark, that he has maybe an easier road with Oklahoma moving to the SEC potentially as early as next year, but within the next couple of years. And so I think that's certainly part of the equation. Certainly UCLA has improved over the last couple of years, and this year being an 8-win team, I think that obviously provides some motivation from the USC side to come and bring in just a splash hire. But yeah, I don't remember, Mark. I've been trying to think of that as well, and I would think, and I know that you guys have probably done a really good job at kind of breaking this down, but I think certainly a lateral move. I don't know that you could say that USC's better than Oklahoma. I don't think that you could say Oklahoma's better than USC. So I think, it'll be interesting at some point if we hear kind of some of the underlying issues, because it's odd. I think what Bob Stoops has done, really just handing him the keys to the program just 5 years ago. And so I think it would be very, interesting just to kind of hear Bob Stoops' thought process, as well with this. One interesting thing that it's just came out that Bob Stoops is going to coach Oklahoma in the bowl game this year. So, so that's interesting. That just within the last couple of minutes as I joined here, he was actually in the meeting with Lincoln Riley when he talked to the team overall. So we just put out, Mark, an article on Last Word that I did just about some potential replacements for Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. And Bob is he's at the bottom of the list. Wouldn't be surprised at all. It's not the first time something like that's happened. Bill Snyder is a perfect example at Kansas State. Retired a couple years, came back and kind of kept the wheels on the bus going for a few years until his ultimate retirement. I think that's part of it. And I think, Mark, the thing that may be most prevalent about that possibility would be the fact that Bob Stoops is tremendously loyal to the University of Oklahoma. He is, anybody that watches that Fox News broadcast, he's a cheerleader for Oklahoma every single week. And I think he may have a sense of loyalty. So, hey, I handed the keys to this guy thinking that he would not only bring national championships to Oklahoma, thinking that, you know, he would be the guy, you know, that would be there, maybe not necessarily as long as he was, but be there in the long haul. So would not be surprised at all with him if he was the choice that they didn't feel like that they could get, you know, whoever maybe they wanted in a short time period. Because I know you guys were talking about recruiting. They got to get someone in there, I mean, quickly, with that early signing period happening here pretty soon in the next few weeks. It's critical that they get someone in there pretty quickly.